Hi, my name is Kate, and I am on week 50 of long COVID. As we're kind of coming full circle to the 1 year anniversary of my infection, I wanted to just take a minute and check in. It's been a little while since I did a longer update. And I'm really happy to share that things are going remarkably well, shockingly well, even. And that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm cured, it's a miracle, but it does mean like I can do 4 things in a day instead of just two. And boy, howdy, that is exciting. So I kind of chalk that up to 2 things. Finding a medication type and dosage that works for me and my symptoms, and also starting to use a motorized wheelchair. So, in terms of medication, after I failed all my original beta blockers, insurance agreed to cover Avabradine. And for the first round of Avabradine, when I was on 5 milligrams twice a day, it was bad. I just kept passing out all over the place. My blood pressure was really, really low, even though it's not supposed to do that on Avabradine. So we were like, okay, this is not the miracle drug that we thought it would be. But in sort of a last ditch effort, my cardiologist was like, we're going to up you to 7.5 milligrams twice a day and add in Midodrine, which is something I'd been on earlier, but it raises your blood pressure. So the Avabradine to deal with the tachycardia, the racing heart rate, and the Midodrine to raise my blood pressure. So 7.5 milligrams twice a day of Avabradine and 2.5 milligrams of Midodrine 3 times a day. And it has really caused my system to be more stable. I don't have as many heart rate spikes. My blood pressure stays in the normal range, which is great. When I overdo it, and by overdo it, I mean like say do 5 things in a day, my heart rate still kind of gets destabilized, gets super reactive, and the tachycardia starts with changing position. But as long as I kind of stay within my energy envelope, as my occupational therapist calls it, as long as I don't use all my spoons, I'm in pretty good shape. And that has lasted for over a month now. So typically what was happening was I would start a new beta blocker, it would work great for 10 days, and then it would stop working. My body would figure out a way to kind of circumnavigate it and boost my heart rate back up again. But now I'm a month on this combination and it's still working. So fingers crossed, prayers ascending. Please. I hope it continues to work because it's been pretty amazing. And then I've also added in a motorized wheelchair. So I am an ambulatory wheelchair user. I can still walk. I can usually walk between 1,000 and 4,000 steps a day, which is significant. But my day-to-day life, my work, my general routine as it is and as I would like it to be requires me to do more than that. So my occupational therapist, we kind of kept waiting for like, okay, like there will come a point when you can move more without symptoms. And it hasn't come yet. And we're almost a year in. And I have to live in this body now. So I'm going to be kind to this body now and like actually give it a chance to rest and recover instead of constantly pushing it to the edge and being surprised that it doesn't accommodate that. So for me in my line of work, I'm an Episcopal priest. Sunday mornings are very busy for me. So what was happening was basically I would do Sunday services. I would get home. I would get into bed. I would be in bed until Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. And then it would be time to like gear up for the next Sunday and do it all over again. And in the meantime, I'm also doing PT and OT and trying to like expand my capacity. And it just wasn't happening. But now with my motorized wheelchair, being able to take some of that extra strain of changing position, as an Episcopalian, part of like the liturgical tradition of Christianity. Sorry, this is going to get a little church nerd, but like, Catholics, Orthodox, etc. We love sitting, standing, kneeling, sitting, standing, etc., etc. Do that 500 times and that's church. Which does not work well when you have POTS. spoiler alert. And I'd really like cut out most of the moving, but like I still had to get up and move around. So just like being able to do things, being able to go places, being able to move around without having to calculate precisely how many spoons that is going to take is huge. So like when I have a parishioner in the hospital that I need to go visit, it's not like, well, I have to scrap the rest of my plan for this week because I've used up all my spoons. It's oh, I can park in the handicap parking spot and I can take my chair and I can go do the visit. So now instead of crashing for half of the week after Sunday, I get home with energy left. Like it's Sunday afternoon right now. I'm resting after church, and I'm tired and I'm fatigued, but I'm not crushed. And that's such a difference. That's such a difference. So yeah, those two things for me, finding the right medication and dosage, adding in the motorized wheelchair, has allowed me not only to, do more of the things that I love doing, that, I feel called to do, that I need to do for work, for life, whatever. But it also means that I can actually focus on healing instead of just like recovering from the previous energy expenditure. So now like I can do more in PT and OT, and I can push a little bit further to hopefully get some of the strength back in my heart so that its pumping can be more effective. So like this week I started water-based PT sessions with standing and walking around the pool, and just like, oh, this is what standing and walking used to feel like. It didn't used to feel like my heart was going to explode out of my chest or I was going to pass out and hit my head on the way down. It used to just feel normal. And that's what it feels like in the pool. So slowly but surely building that strength back up in a way that's not going to, set off my symptoms, but is really going to let me do the work that my body needs to do to hopefully gain a little bit of capacity feels hopeful and exciting. I am afraid of saying too much too soon. I think if you're in the middle of this process, that every time you start to feel better, it's easy to get really excited and think like, oh, things are going to go back to the way they were, or I'm going to be healed. And that can be really disappointing when then you have another setback. But just as much, like, I don't want to like smother my joy. It might not last. This medication and wheelchair combo working so well, it might not always be the case, but it is the case right now. So that is worth celebrating. So from my journey to yours, just sending lots of love your way this holiday season. Take good care, everybody.